I was born to a woman I've never met, and she was in prison. And after she gave birth to me, I was more or less her release out of prison. She jumped off one plane and jumped on another and told the air hostess she had forgotten her bag and went back to the lobby to go and get it, and she never came back. I was fostered out to a family in Paraparumu, and they became my family. As I got older, I was just losing focus on school. I started rebelling. At the age of 15, I had my first drink with my mate. Then it started becoming a habit. I was getting into the pubs, and I started really getting into the drinking. By that stage there, I was earning money because I'd left school. I was hooked into the life of the pub, and 2 years later I moved to Australia. I bought a car, but I wasn't paying for the car. I was renting, but I wasn't paying my rent. I was just going out and drinking and drinking and drinking, so much so that, well, I ran out of money, so I started stealing money from the till. I could have gone to prison for that when I was 19 years old. When you start drinking and you've already got anger issues, well, that anger is like putting petrol on fire, and it doesn't take long before I was brawling. I beat up a guy at the Leagues Club, which led to me losing my job, losing my contract, losing the house I was ready to buy, losing my relationship. I didn't care. I just wanted to be wasted. I just lived to be wasted. And I just happened to be able to get work in between, but all my money was going into cannabis and alcohol. I blew it completely with my freedom because I completely stuffed up on a drug deal, and I was penniless. My family weren't helping me anymore. My father couldn't pull me out of this trouble I was in. So all I could do was turn to crime. I robbed a TAB in Wellington to get me out of a drug bill that I couldn't find my way out of. It's the only way, and it was getting to the point of blackmail where these guys were threatening to go and see my father. But by now, the police had built a profile on me. And then when I went back and robbed it again, they were waiting outside my house. I had to get out of Wellington because I knew they were hunting me. And I went on a life on the run. Rang up my father, who was still alive then, and I didn't know what to say to him. I just said, "I love you, Dad." And I just hit the road and hitchhiked around the country. I lived in Kerikeri in 2000 as Steve Andrews, and I actually quite enjoyed the new life that I created. I was working. Yeah, I was still in the alcohol. Yes, I was still in the drugs, but I was free for a year. When the police in Wellington, who I didn't realise were monitoring calls to my father, picked up on a call that I made to him, and they came out to Kerikeri. I got a big loud bang on the door at 5 in the morning. Had all these red lights all on me. One was right in my eye, and they were screaming, "Armed police." They got me. They found me after a year on the run. My freedom ended for a good 3 years after that. I knew then that my life was about to change. I thought it was going to change in a bad way, which it did. But if I knew what was going to happen in the future, yeah, I just wouldn't have believed it. So now that the police had caught up with me, and I was now detained and I was taken into custody, I realised then, well, this is it. I'm now about to face the consequences to my actions, and that was going to be 3 years in prison. I was feeling sick and regretful. I regretted everything I did. Put it this way, clamp on your teeth. Just clamp as hard as you can on your teeth. Just clamp down. Now hold that for 3 years, because that's basically what I was doing. I was gritting my teeth for 3 years. The one thing I didn't see coming was that when you're in prison, you're given a sentence plan, and mine was to work in the kitchen. I was learning the actual skills of how to cook, how to use a knife properly, how to prepare food, how to use culinary style, how to taste. I got my health and hygiene certificates while I was there. I didn't get those because I wanted them. I got them because I didn't want to go back to the compound. All good things come to an end, because when you're in prison, you do stupid things, and I did something real stupid. I helped bring in some drugs on the way back from the college, and I got caught. And that was costly for me, but I still maintained the art of how to cook. First day out of prison, I went and visited my dad. That was where the shame came back, because I'd hurt him so much. I'd hurt him so badly, I'd let him down. And all he did was, he just tried so hard to get me to be a better man. That was so heartbreaking for me, knowing what I did. I was in a bad state. My mind was completely shot. And the drugs and alcohol, just, it's been like babies to me. I've just been carrying these two babies around for years. And I'm going to say now, when you've tried suicide, that is the most overpowering thought that can come into your life. And that overpowering thought came back. The counsellor I was seeing was part of my church, Elam Whangarei, but I wasn't a part of this church. And she asked a man she worked alongside to come and visit me, which he did. But what he also gave me was something that was the key to me coming to church. He invited me. He gave me an invitation card. He said, I can go to his church, and I thought I'll just go once to say that I've been. And 5 years later, I'm still going. When I first came in, I couldn't get how I walked in and everyone was just hugging, happy to see each other. And I just didn't get it. And as strange as it sounds, it kept bringing me back. I actually started not hating myself as much. I really look forward to the church services. So my pastor asked me would I like to do an internship. And what I found out was he'd like me to run a ministry. And his vision was to run a food ministry using my skills in the kitchen. My gift was cooking, a skill I learned in 2002 at Rimataka Prison. And 16 years later, that gift that God has given me, I was about to use for a food ministry, creating meals for our community, for our families, for people in need. I accepted it fully. I want to help people rise up as well through the love of God, through the journey that I've been on. My future is to be a great husband, not a good husband, a great husband. My future is to be a great mentor for my kids and my grandkids. My future is to show the world what it is like to allow love to guide you and not hate. If there's one thing I want to say about having God in your life, is that God's never not been in your life. God's always been there. And when you know that He's there and you know who to turn to, just know this, He's not going to let you down. We are children of God, and be proud of that.